The Massachusetts State Quarter, 2000, is part of the famous 50 State Quarters program, a major U.S. coin program launched by the United States Mint that ran from 1999 to 2008 and honored each U.S. state in the order they joined the Union. The Massachusetts Quarter was released in 2000 because Massachusetts was the sixth state to join the United States on February 6, 1788, which is why the coin shows the year 1788 along with the phrase, the Bay State. The coin you mentioned marked 2000D means it was minted in Denver Mint, the D Mint mark. Millions of these coins were produced for circulation. On the obverse front of the coin is the famous portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, whose image has appeared on the U.S. quarter since 1932. Around Washington's portrait you see inscriptions such as United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and the denomination quarter dollar. The phrase, In God We Trust, became the official national motto of the United States in 1956 and has appeared on U.S. coins for many decades as a reflection of the country's historical cultural values and traditions. The reverse back of the Massachusetts State Quarter is particularly meaningful and historical. It features the famous statue called the Minuteman statue, located at Minuteman National Historical Park in Concord, Massachusetts. The statue represents a colonial militia soldier known as a Minuteman, who was ready to fight at a minute's notice during the early days of the American Revolutionary War. These militia soldiers played a crucial role during the opening battles of the Revolution, especially the battles of Lexington and Concord in 1775, which marked the beginning of the war between the American colonies and Great Britain. Behind the Minuteman figure on the coin is the outline map of Massachusetts, symbolizing the state's important role in the founding of the nation. The design emphasizes Massachusetts' deep connection to American independence and early colonial history. Another Latin phrase often seen on U.S. coins, including quarters, is e pluribus unum, which means out of many, one. This phrase reflects the idea that the United States is formed from many states and peoples united as one nation. The motto has appeared on American coins since the late 18th century and symbolizes unity and cooperation among the states. The phrase, the Bay State, on the coin is the official nickname of Massachusetts, referring to Massachusetts Bay, the large bay along the Atlantic coast that was important for early settlement, trade, and shipping during the colonial period. The design of the Massachusetts Quarter was created by the engravers and artists of the United States Mint, based on ideas submitted by the state government and citizens. State quarters were extremely popular among collectors and the general public. People across the country saved these coins, built coin collections, and learned about American geography and history through the program. In fact, the 50 State Quarters program became one of the most successful coin programs in history, with billions of quarters produced and collected. The 2000D Massachusetts Quarter specifically had a mintage of hundreds of millions of coins from the Denver Mint alone, making it common in circulation, although collectors may seek high-grade, uncirculated versions. The coin is made of a copper core with a cupronickel outer layer, the standard composition used for modern U.S. quarters since 1965. It weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and features a reeded edge with 119 grooves. Even though the coin is only worth 25 cents in circulation, some collectors value uncirculated or special mint state versions slightly higher depending on condition. Overall, the Massachusetts State Quarter represents the state's revolutionary heritage, its nickname, the Bay State, and its important role in the birth of the United States. Through the image of the Minuteman and the outline of the state, the coin connects everyday money with the powerful story of American independence and unity, reminding people that the country was built from the courage and cooperation of many different states and communities that came together to form one nation, the next top. The North Carolina State Quarter, 2001, is one of the coins issued in the historic 50 State Quarters program, a nationwide commemorative coin series created by the United States Mint to honor each of the 50 U.S. states in the order they joined the United States. This particular quarter represents the state of North Carolina, which became the 12th state to ratify the U.S. Constitution and join the Union on November 21, 1789, which is why the date 1789 appears on the coin along with the release year, 2001. The mint mark P on the coin indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the main facilities responsible for producing circulating coinage in the United States. Like all modern U.S. quarters, the North Carolina quarter has two main sides, the obverse, front, and the reverse, back. On the obverse side appears the familiar portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States and the commander of the Continental Army during the American Revolutionary War. Washington's portrait has been used on the U.S. quarter since 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of his birth. Surrounding the portrait are several inscriptions that appear on nearly all modern quarters, including United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and Quarter Dollar. The phrase, "In God We Trust," has been used on U.S. coins since the 19th century and became the official national motto in 1956. It reflects the historical tradition of acknowledging faith and moral guidance within American culture and government. Another Latin motto frequently seen on U.S. coins is E pluribus unum, which means out of many, one. This phrase symbolizes the idea that many states, cultures, and people form one unified nation. It has appeared on American coinage since the late 1700s and represents the unity that formed the United States from the original 13 colonies. The reverse side of the North Carolina quarter features one of the most historically significant moments in aviation history, the Wright brothers' first flight. The design shows the famous Wright Flyer airplane flying above the ground, representing the first successful powered airplane flight conducted by Orville Wright and Wilbur Wright on December 17, 1903. This historic event took place near the coastal town of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, specifically at the sand dunes of Kill Devil Hills. Because of this groundbreaking achievement, North Carolina proudly adopted the nickname First Flight, which appears on the coin. The Wright brothers' successful experiment marked the beginning of modern aviation and eventually led to the development of airplanes used for transportation, commerce, science, and global travel. Their aircraft, the Wright Flyer, was a lightweight wooden and fabric biplane powered by a small gasoline engine and controlled through a unique system that allowed the pilot to steer and balance the aircraft in the air. Although the first flight lasted only about 12 seconds and traveled 120 feet, it changed the course of human history and opened the door to the modern aviation industry. The design of the North Carolina quarter highlights this moment by showing the airplane lifting off while a stylized outline of the state appears beneath it. The artistic design was developed by artists and engravers working for the United States Mint, with input from the North Carolina state government and residents who participated in the design selection process. Like other quarters in the state quarters program, this coin was produced in enormous quantities so that people across the country could find them in everyday change and learn about each state's unique heritage. The North Carolina quarter minted in Philadelphia had a mintage of hundreds of millions of coins, making it relatively common in circulation. However, collectors often seek high-quality uncirculated examples or coins with strong strike details. The coin itself follows the standard specifications of modern U.S. quarters. It weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and features a reeded edge with many small grooves. Its composition consists of a copper core sandwiched between layers of cupronickel, a durable metal combination introduced in 1965 to replace earlier silver coins. Even though the coin has a face value of 25 cents, its historical symbolism makes it interesting for collectors and history enthusiasts. The North Carolina quarter not only celebrates the state's entry into the Union but also commemorates the beginning of powered human flight, one of the greatest technological achievements in history. Through the image of the Wright Flyer and the phrase "First Flight," the coin honors the innovative spirit of the Wright brothers and reminds people that the dream of flying, once thought impossible, became reality on a windy day along the dunes of North Carolina. The coin also reflects the broader purpose of the 50 State Quarters program, which was to educate the public about American history, geography, and culture while encouraging coin collecting among citizens of all ages. By placing important symbols of each state on everyday money, the program turned ordinary quarters into small historical lessons that travel through people's hands across the nation and around the world. In this way, The North Carolina State Quarter of 2001 stands as both a circulating coin and a miniature tribute to innovation, exploration, and the pioneering achievement that launched humanity into the age of aviation. The next top. The Ohio State Quarter, 2002, is a commemorative U.S. coin released as part of the historic 50 State Quarters program, a nationwide initiative conducted by the United States Mint between 1999 and 2008 to celebrate each state in the order it joined the United States. This particular quarter honors the state of Ohio, which became the 17th state admitted to the Union on March 1, 1803, and therefore the coin displays the year 1803 along with the release year, 2002. The version marked 2002 D means the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the major U.S. coin-producing facilities. Like other modern American quarters, the coin contains several inscriptions and symbolic designs that represent national values and historical achievements. On the obverse front side appears the well-known portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States and the leader of the Continental Army during the American Revolutionary War. Washington's portrait has appeared on the U.S. quarter since 1932, originally introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of his birth. Around the portrait are inscriptions including United States of America, Liberty, Quarter Dollar, and the phrase, In God We Trust. The motto, In God We Trust, has appeared on many American coins since the 1800s and was officially declared the national motto of the United States in 1956. Another Latin phrase commonly found on U.S. coinage is E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many one. This motto symbolizes the idea that many states and peoples together form one unified nation, reflecting the original union of the 13 colonies and the continued growth of the country. The reverse back of the Ohio State Quarter carries the theme, Birthplace of Aviation Pioneers. The design features an early airplane known as the Wright Flyer, which represents the historic aviation achievements of Orville Wright and Wilbur Wright. Although their first powered flight occurred in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina during the famous Wright brothers' first flight in 1903, the Wright brothers were originally from Dayton, Ohio, where they designed and built their experimental aircraft. Because of this, Ohio proudly claims them as pioneers of aviation. The coin's design also includes the outline of the state of Ohio and a depiction of an astronaut symbolizing the state's contribution to space exploration. This astronaut image honors John Glenn, an Ohio native who became one of America's most famous astronauts. Glenn made history in 1962 when he became the first American to orbit the Earth aboard the spacecraft Friendship 7 during the Mercury Atlas 6 mission, part of the early U.S. human spaceflight program. Ohio has produced several astronauts and aviation innovators, which is why the state's quarter emphasizes both early flight and space exploration. The artistic concept behind the coin reflects Ohio's role in advancing transportation technology, from the first powered airplane to human spaceflight. The design was selected through collaboration between the state government, local citizens, and artists from the United States Mint. The State Quarters program itself became one of the most popular coin programs in American history, encouraging millions of people to collect coins and learn about the history and culture of each state. Billions of quarters were produced during the program, and the Ohio Quarter minted in Denver had a very large production run, making it common in circulation. Despite its face value of only 25 cents, collectors often keep these coins because of their historical symbolism and educational value. The coin follows the standard specifications used for modern U.S. quarters. It weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and features a reeded edge with many small grooves around the rim. The metal composition consists of a pure copper core covered by layers of cupronickel, a durable alloy used for circulating coins since 1965, when the United States replaced silver coinage with more economical metals. The Ohio State Quarter therefore represents far more than a simple piece of currency. It is a miniature tribute to innovation, engineering, and exploration. By featuring the Wright brothers' airplane and honoring astronaut John Glenn, the coin connects two major chapters of technological progress: aviation and space travel. It reminds people that Ohio played an important role in humanity's journey from the first controlled powered flight to traveling beyond Earth's atmosphere. Through the words birthplace of aviation pioneers, the coin celebrates the imagination and determination of individuals who push the boundaries of science and technology. Like other coins in the 50-state quarters program, the Ohio quarter transformed everyday pocket change into a small history lesson, allowing millions of people to learn about the achievements, heritage, and identity of each American state, while simply using ordinary money in daily life. The next top. The Mississippi State Quarter, 2002, is one of the commemorative coins released in the historic 50-state quarters program, a nationwide series created by the United States Mint to honor each state in the order it joined the United States. This particular quarter represents the state of Mississippi, which became the 20th state admitted to the Union on December 10, 1817, and therefore the coin displays the year 1817 together with the release year, 2002. The Mint Mark D on the coin shows that it was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the major facilities that manufactures U.S. circulating coins. Like all modern U.S. quarters, this coin has two main sides with inscriptions and symbolic designs reflecting American history and the identity of the state it represents. On the obverse front side of the coin appears the famous portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States and the commander of the Continental Army during the American Revolutionary War. Washington's portrait has been used on the quarter since 1932, when the United States celebrated the bicentennial of his birth. Surrounding the portrait are several inscriptions that appear on nearly all American quarters: United States of America, Liberty, Quarter Dollar, and the phrase, "In God We Trust." The motto, "In God We Trust," has been used on American coinage since the 19th century and became the official national motto in 1956. It reflects the historical tradition of faith and moral guidance recognized in American culture. Another phrase commonly seen on U.S. coins is the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, which means, out of many one. This phrase symbolizes the unity of the United States, showing how many states and people together form one nation. It first appeared on American coins in the late 1700s and remains an important national symbol. The reverse, back, side of the Mississippi State Quarter features one of the most recognizable symbols of the state, the beautiful magnolia flower. The design shows two large magnolia blossoms with leaves, representing the natural beauty and cultural identity of Mississippi. Because magnolia trees grow widely throughout the state and their elegant white flowers are strongly associated with its landscape and heritage, Mississippi is proudly known as the Magnolia State. This nickname appears on the coin along with the state name and the year of statehood, 1817. The magnolia flower has long symbolized dignity, hospitality, and Southern tradition, and it is also the official state flower of Mississippi. The choice of this design reflects the state's connection to its natural environment and the long history of magnolia trees in the region. The magnolia is not only admired for its beauty, but also represents resilience and cultural pride in the American South. The artistic design of the Mississippi Quarter was developed through cooperation between state officials and artists from the United States Mint. Citizens of Mississippi were involved in suggesting design ideas, and the final image of the magnolia blossom was selected because it clearly represents the state's nickname and natural heritage. Like the other coins in the state quarters program, the Mississippi Quarter was produced in very large numbers so that it could circulate widely across the country. Millions of Americans encountered these coins in everyday change, and many people began collecting them as a hobby. The program helped educate the public about American geography, state history, and cultural symbols while turning ordinary coins into small pieces of educational art. In terms of physical characteristics, the Mississippi State Quarter follows the standard specifications for modern U.S. quarters. The coin weighs 5.67 grams and has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters. It has a reeded edge with many small grooves around the rim. The coin's composition consists of a pure copper core covered with layers of cupronickel, a durable metal combination used for circulating coins in the United States since 1965, when silver was removed from regular coinage. Although the coin has a face value of 25 cents, collectors often keep high-quality versions in uncirculated condition or mint state because of their historical and artistic significance. The 2002 D. Mississippi quarter was minted in the Denver facility in large quantities, making it common in circulation, but pristine examples can still hold collector interest. The Mississippi quarter therefore represents far more than a simple piece of currency. It symbolizes the state's natural beauty, history, and cultural identity through the elegant image of the magnolia flower. By including the nickname, the Magnolia State, the coin honors Mississippi's landscape and traditions while reminding people of the state's place in the history of the United States. Like all coins in the 50-state quarters program, it transforms everyday money into a small historical lesson that travels from hand to hand across the country, helping people learn about the unique stories and symbols that define each American state.
United States.